Our lead this hour to begin the week comes from the NFL as we parse the news of the day, and we'll start out in Cincinnati, where Bengal running back Joe Mixon making headlines, but not for some kind of criminal activity. Not this time. Mixon declining to talk with several prominent members of the Fourth Estate in his first practice after he was found not guilty of that aggravated menacing case. That news coming out at the end of last week. After Sunday's practice, Joe Mixon said, you know what, I'm good. I don't need to talk to you reporters. He then announced that he would be boycotting questions from several media outlets because he felt that they did him dirty. Sports Illustrated on the naughty list, the Cincinnati Enquirer. Sorry, something called the Pro Football Network has been banished, and ESPN. Mixon said, quote, "It's not happening." He cited the behavior he deemed to be disrespectful. So if you do not genuflect to Joe Mixon, he's not going to bless you with his words. He says, you know how, as he retreated into the training room, as he was in full French soldier retreat mode, like a Parisian soldier, he then returned to one of the ping pong tables a few minutes later, but did not address the media. How are our lives going to go on without hearing the wisdom of Joe Mixon? I guess we'll have to depend on Bengals.com. I see that Mixon did not ban Bengals.com, shocking, or NFL.com, a mouthpiece of the NFL. So let us discuss the question. What do you think of the Bengals' Joe Mixon and his media boycott? So I've got Breach, Funny Bone, and Fork. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make some Skyline chili. Now, the first thought I have on Joe Mixon's media boycott, it shows a tremendous amount of chutzpah. It does. Tremendous amount of chutzpah. On this side of the microphone, even though we spent a lot of our time dissecting what athletes say, I find 99% of athlete interviews a complete waste of time. Most of them are meatheads. Others of them have nothing to say of interest. It's just a complete exercise in futility. So with that being said, you look at Joe Mixon. The reason it's extra chutzpah is he has a humdinger of a track record. Now, if you want to go there, we can go there, but the infamous punch heard round the college football world when he cold-cocked that girl in Oklahoma, that cafe, breaking the young lady's jaw. But since then, he's had multiple brushes with trouble, and the media boycott thing sounds kind of cool, and the fanboys like that, right? Oh, ban the media, the bad guy, all that. They love that. Of course, don't let the wackadoodles trash your name, Joe. Don't do it. Now, regardless of that, here's the problem, and there's really no way around this. Joe Mixon is in the media business. You say, well, no, he's a football player. He's not in the media. No, he's in the media business. What's my evidence? All right, this is a breach of contract. All right, my evidence, the standard language in every player agreement, the media access policy that was written and agreed upon by the union and the NFL power brokers. The media access policy is reviewed and updated annually. And it remains the standard operating procedure for the NFL. The media is a crucial part of that. The NFL is a media company. They are a media company. And in the language, right there, it says reasonable cooperation with the news media is essential to the continuing popularity of our game. I'm reading it right out of the agreement. Players must be available to the media following every game and regularly in person during the practice week as required under league rules and their contracts. The minimum for such players does not include other required media obligations, meaning that if Joe Mixon does the bare minimum, he still has to have regular meetings if requested by the network production meetings from NBC and Fox and CBS and all the different networks. Also, national media interviews arranged by the PR department. So let me rephrase this. For those of you a little slow in the back of the room, if Joe Mixon continues violating the rules, he will be found in contempt of conduct detrimental to the NFL, and then will be subject to the accountability measures, ergo fines and things along that line. And maybe Mixon doesn't care and he's willing to get dinged some money, and that's fine if he wants to get dinged some money. My life will not change anyway. Hearing Joe Mixon talk or not hearing Joe Mixon talk, I think we'll all be okay. I can't speak for you, but I think we'll be all right on this side of the microphone. Now, turning the page, let's go to Baltimore, where Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson addressed criticism of his style of play recently when speaking with RG3. Now, Jackson said, quote, "It didn't impact me at all," talking about his style of play, running the ball, "because I didn't get hurt running the ball." But wait, there's more. Jackson went on to say, "As you can see, I was hurt in the pocket. But you know, people are going to always have their own narratives, but I'm the one playing the game," Jackson opined. "I really don't got anything to prove," he said, using the King's English. "I just want to win the Super Bowl or a few, but my mind is to just get better day at a time," he said. That's not the cliche. I think it's, yeah. All right, anyway, that was the gist of the quote from Lamar Jackson. The question, why did Lamar Jackson get so testy when asked about his style of play? And the answer here is rather obvious. This reporting touches a nerve. It touches the funny bone. Ha ha! Yeah, not so funny. Even though Lamar Jackson got paid, he got the forever money. His mama figured it out with the NFL. They copied the contract that Jalen Hurts got with the Eagles, added an extra $5 million. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. The deal was done. But you can tell Lamar, based on this response, is annoyed with the noise. Many pundits, young and old, many a pundit believe Lamar is not going to be a viable quarterback for the Ravens over the course of this contract. The guaranteed money will be a mistake by the Ravens long term because of his style of play, throwing caution to the wind, putting himself in harm's way. So Jackson did the thing you can't do at the time you can't do it. And when I give my idiot's guide on how to deal with haters, I always point out, don't flinch. Do not flinch. He flinched. Yeah, there's a large sign that we put up that warns of the dangers. I'm glad he did it. It's good content, but don't feed the trolls. Do not feed the trolls. Lamar Jackson feeding the trolls has created more trolls. And he has reminded all of the trolls, all the little monsters, that this is a sore subject. So if you want to annoy Lamar Jackson, point out, you run too much, you're going to get hurt, this is a problem, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, just like that. And make sure you put the blah, 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 blah in the end there. That's very important. All right, now last word here. Let's go to Tampa, where the Buccaneers coach Todd Bowls, who knows he's on borrowed time now. Todd Bowls said that there is no timetable to name the starting quarterback for his team for the 2023 season. You might realize there's only one exhibition game left, then there's a dead week, and then the season begins in the NFL. So we're heading into that period. Well, Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask have both played in the preseason, but Todd Bowls is not yet ready to make the decision. When asked specifically about this, he said, quote, "We don't have a timetable on it," Bowles opining as to when to name the starter. "We'll name it when we name it," he said. "We feel comfortable with where we're at, so we'll go from there." All right, let's discuss this. The question, explain why Todd Bowles has no timetable for the Buccaneers to name a starting quarterback. So I have a theory on this. The MALLER theory on why Todd Bowles, head coach of Tampa Bay, has no timetable to name a starting quarterback, because he's been given the fork. The fork. Morton's fork. If you look at Todd Bowles, he has a choice between two equally unpleasant options. You've got Baker Mayfield, who has had one good year and Kyle Trask, who's had no real opportunity because nobody really thinks he's that good. Baker Mayfield on one side, and then on the other side you got Kyle Trask. You are stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea. You are. It's going to be Baker Mayfield. He will be the starting quarterback for Tampa Bay. And then when he falls on his face, Kyle Trask will take over. That's how it's going to go. But Todd Bowls doesn't want to say that because he's hoping that something dramatic will change. That on a wing and a prayer, something's going to be totally different for the Buccaneers and everything will be okay. And there'll be some kind of magic fix-all that will come in. Good luck on that. Good luck. Keep massaging the mini bar there and maybe something will happen.